Hello, everybody. This is my prediction for the 2024 Senate election. I was originally supposed to do this before, but I'm glad I didn't, because Kyrsten Sinema announced that she will be registering as an independent, or she already has registered as an independent. So now that the cat's out of the bag, I'm gonna make my first 2024 prediction for the United States Senate. So if you don't know my margins, it's this is my first time doing it, so I wouldn't expect you to know. So it's so it's over 15%, and then 15 to 5%, and then 5 to 1%, and then under 1%. So what? This means over 15%. This means 15 to 5. This means 5 to 1, and this means under 1 for Republicans. And then this means over 15 for Democrats. This means between 15 and 5 for Democrats. This means between 5 and 1 for Democrats. And then this means under 1 for Democrats. And then I have independents here for Bernie, Angus King, and you'll have to see about Kyrsten Sinema. But this is for over 15. This is for between 15 and 5. This is for between 5 and 1. And then this is for under 1. Okay, so first we're going to start off with safe Democrat states. So states over 15%. Hawaii, obviously, California, Washington, Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York. Oh, actually, no, not Vermont. I forgot about Bernie. And that is it. And then for Republicans, Wyoming, Utah, Mitt Romney's probably going to win the primary. Definitely going to win the primary. And then definitely going to win the Senate election by over 15. North Dakota, Nebraska, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Indiana. So those are all the states for over 15, except for the two independents, Bernie Sanders in Vermont and Angus King in Maine, who I would normally put with Democrats, but I want to make this map fancy, so I'm not going to. So yeah, these are all the states that I would be completely and utterly shocked if they went to a different party. Indiana could be brought down to likely if the Republicans nominate someone very bad, but it's probably not going to happen. And then I should say, if by the slimmest chance Mitt Romney does lose his primary in Utah, which is definitely not going to happen, but if it does, I'd expect him to maybe run as an independent and then win that seat, but that's far speculation. That's like just in case. So now for likely states. So between 15 and 5%. First for Democrats, New Jersey. It's going to be barely below 15, and it's only because their senator is fairly corrupt, and there's a lot of scandals and accusations being thrown out. Virginia, I have it as likely. I think it's going to be right on the edge of 15, and Youngkin could probably bring it down to under 10, but I don't think he's going to run this time, and I don't think he's gonna I don't think the margin will be brought under like 8, so I have it as likely. Minnesota, it's probably gonna be 12 to 15, but I have it as barely below 15, like barely below. New Mexico, Mark Ronchetti is gonna run here, and it's probably gonna be about a 6% margin. Pennsylvania, senator here, very popular, wins by large margins, gonna win by 7, could possibly even get it up to 10. Michigan, the Michigan GOP is in absolute and complete shambles right now. It would not be able to run a candidate good enough to win the seat. And then for the Republicans, we have Missouri. I think it's barely going to be under 15. This will be Josh Hawley's second term, or him running for a second term. and I think it's barely going to be under 15. And then Florida, it's probably going to be 6 to 7. The rule of thumb I learned is whatever you predict for Florida, just make it one characterization higher. So, because for some reason, Florida's like that. So whatever prediction you make for Florida, just make it one characterization more Republican. Or two, depending on the year. But I'd say my general rule of thumb is 1. So that's what I'm doing here, because Florida is always underestimated. Even if the Republican is expected to win by a large margin, they still win by even more. And I think Rick Scott, even though he's a terrible candidate and extremely unpopular, Florida is a red state. We're going to have to get used to that. I think he's going to win here by 6 to 7. Because he has good fundraising. And then these are the states that will be the closest. So our last state over 5% is West Virginia, and I have it as going to the Republicans. This is the first flip. It's Joe Manchin's Senate seat, and he used to be extremely popular. I think he's still approved of, but his approval rating dropped after he made his co-wrote, I guess you could say, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. That dropped his approval rating. I think it's going to be the first flip. He only barely won in 2018. I think if the Republicans nominate an average candidate, he's going to lose by 7 to maybe 12. No, 7 to 10. But if they nominate Jim Justice, which could possibly happen, it's basically like a coin toss whether he runs. If they nominate him, it's going to be safe. But it kind of varies on whether he's going to run. So right now I'm just going to say he's not going to run. But if Jim Justice is the nominee, because he's been term limited from being West Virginia's governor, so if Jim Justice runs, then it's going to be safe. But if it's just a generic Republican, then it's probably going to be likely. So that's it for the states over 5. And now for the 2 states in the lean category, so between 1 and 5, that aren't going to be that close. Like, they're going to be close, but they're not going to be that close. Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin is relatively popular, but it's Wisconsin. It's shifting to the right. But she's a lot more popular than Ron Johnson. She has the incumbency advantage. I could see it going up to likely, but right now I'm going to say it's lean barely, like 4%. And then my other high lean characterization is Texas. If the Democrats nominate Beto O'Rourke again, which I don't think they will, it'll probably be likely, but I don't think they're going to nominate him. I think if they nominate anyone else, it's going to be lean. Just Beto O'Rourke is way too pro gun control, which is bad for the state of Texas. If you want to get elected, don't do that. And he was very outspoken about that in his governor election, and he lost by like 11. So, if the Democrats nominate an average candidate, it's probably going to go down to lean. And then we've got the 4 states that will be the closest: Montana, Nevada, Arizona, and Ohio. First, I will say Texas is probably the Democrats' best chance of getting a pickup. The common thing you'll see with the Senate elections is, in this cycle, is the Democrats are trying to fend off the Republicans in a lot of seats, and the Republicans have way more pickup opportunities than the Democrats. The only 2 seats I could see the Democrats picking up would be Texas and Florida, but probably just Texas. While the Republicans could pick up West Virginia, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Montana, Ohio, which is a ton of seats. Which are a ton of seats. Which is a ton of seats, I think. But yeah, the Democrats are going to have to really be playing defensively here. Next, that's it for the lean states. So now for tilt states, or states that I think will be under 1%. First, Nevada. First of all, I think Texas is going to be around 3%. Nevada, I think it's going to be around um, zero point 0.7 to zero point 0.9. The Democratic incumbent here is very good, and I think 2024 is going to be more favorable to Democrats than 2022. I think it's going to be D plus 0. So even though Catherine Cortez Masto was able to win here in a R plus 2 to 3 environment, and the Democrat here running in 2024 is even more popular than Catherine Cortez Masto. So I think, unless there's like a recession or something, she's probably going to win, but it's going to be relatively close. And now the three closest states. Montana. This is a complete... These three states are very close and could change easily. And I think they're all going to be below 0.5%. So first, Montana. Jon Tester is defending his seat. And what makes this hard for Democrats is not just that they're defending a bunch of Democrat seats in Republican states, but that it's going to be a presidential election year, which means a lot of the people in these states are going to turn out. Like West Virginia, Ohio, Montana are all states that went to Trump that Democrats have incumbents in. And in a presidential... So the last time that these sets of seats were up was during a midterm year in 2018. And so a lot of presidential supporters, a lot of Republican voters didn't turn out because it wasn't the presidential race, which allowed them to win their seats, especially in Montana and West Virginia. However, it's going to be different now because people are going to be turning out because there will be a presidential election in 2024, which is going to make it very hard for Democrats. So there's going to have to be a ton of split ticket voting to get Jon Tester over the finish line. Montana it's a state that went to Trump by 15. I think the Democrats will probably have to Biden will probably have to get that down a bit to 14, 13 if he wants Tester to get over the finish line, maybe even 12 if he wants Tester to get over the finish line. Because split ticket voting, even though Montana is known for split ticket voting has gone down so much as we as Americans have gotten a lot more polarized. So it's hard to see 15% of people doing split ticket voting for Jon Tester. It's hard to see it, and that's why I have it as the Republicans' second flip. It's really tough. It's probably going to be under 0.5%. And I think if the Democrats or if the Republicans nominate a bad candidate, like I think his name's Steele. I'm blanking on the name. I think the last name is Steele. If they nominate him, which is about a 50-50 chance, I could see it going to Tester. But it's basically 50-50. So right now I'm going to give it to the Republicans. Barely. And this is like... These three seats, Montana, Ohio, and Arizona, are so insanely close they could flip at any time. I could change my prediction at any time. So that's where I have Montana. So now Ohio and Arizona. Arizona's a mess, so I'm going to go with Ohio first. I think, okay. So Ohio, it voted for Trump by 8 in both elections, 2020 and 2016. However, before that, it was Obama country. It voted for Obama by a lean margin in 2012. It wasn't that Republican until 2016. In 2018, it voted for Brown by, I think, 8. He's extremely popular in the state, one of the nation's most popular senators, and he has a decent chance at winning. Even if the Republicans nominate someone mildly competent, he has room to do it. Like, Tim Ryan got it down to 6.5% in a red wave year. So Sherrod Brown is going to be the incumbent. It's going to be in probably a neutral year unless there's a recession, which probably won't happen. I think he could have the absolute slightest advantage in Ohio, and I think the Democrats could barely hold on to it. He's announced that he's running again, and yeah, I think it would be under 0.5%. It would be extremely close. But right now, I think Brown has the absolute narrowest edge because it's not a Trump plus 15 state. It's not a Trump plus 40 state. It's only a Trump plus 8 state. So it's doable with enough split ticket voting. Only because Sherrod Brown is so popular. Only because he's the incumbent. And here we are. Oh, God. Arizona. Jesus Christ. This state and its election boggles my mind. If Kyrsten Sinema hadn't run third party or hadn't switched to being an independent, I would say Ruben Gallego primaries her and it's a lean D state. But things are getting really complicated. I talk about it a lot more in my most recent video before this. I'm going to have it in the top corner of your screen and in the description if you want to check it out and hear more about it. But in short, Kyrsten Sinema, it's pretty much a gamble on whether she's going to take more votes away from the Democrats or the Republicans. Because if you look at her favorability ratings, she's more popular among Republicans than with Democrats or independents. So she could take more votes away from Republicans, but those votes could be McCain Republicans, which the Democrats have used in the past to beat Republicans in the state because they're not comfortable with voting for Trump or an election denier. So it's really, really, really close. And if I could, I would leave it blank. But the YouTube viewer in me knows that if I leave it blank, I'm going to be disappointed. I want a full, complete map. So for my first prediction, God, it's so hard to predict this state. It's really just depending on how much of the vote Kyrsten Sinema will get. Will the Republicans nominate someone who's batshit? Or, no, I shouldn't say that. Will the Republicans nominate someone who's an election denier, like Andy Biggs? I think he's an election denier. I don't know. But he's not moderate. And he seems to be the favorite. So the main things will be, like I said, how much of the vote will Kyrsten Sinema take? Who will the Republicans nominate? And will Kyrsten Sinema take more voters from the Republicans or the Democrats? And that seems to be the biggest right now. But as of right now, this is so hard. It will change by the hour, honestly. But just looking at the favorability polls that have come out showing Kyrsten Sinema's favorability at like 5% with Democrats, I am going to give it. I'm going to give it to the Democrats by like literally the slimmest margin possible. Like extremely slim of a margin. But this could change very quickly. But yeah. So that puts the final Senate map at 51 seats for the Republicans to 49 seats for the Democrats. 2 flips in West Virginia and Montana. Just know that, again, Arizona, Montana, and Ohio could completely flip. I could completely change those. And then Wisconsin could become likely. Nevada could become lean. Texas could become likely if for some reason the Democrats nominate Beto. Which they probably won't. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video. tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to post, but I will post. And again, if you want to hear more about the Arizona Senate race, in the description and in the top corner of your screen, you'll find my most recent video about it. And thank you guys for watching. I'm trying to get this channel some momentum, so I don't want to pressure you, but if you did enjoy the video, if you do enjoy the channel, please, maybe subscribe. I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.